to you viewers, the Colonel speaking to you live from the Preceptory of British Imperial YouTube Broadcasting. And what have we got here, viewers? Yes, it's another one of my comparisons. Compare and contrast, perhaps. I was out and about, last week with a mistress of mine. We went ghastly shopping, and I went into a charity shop and I bought some quite good records, under 10 bob each. I was delighted. So I had to go back yesterday into that particular town, not far from the Preceptory. I'm not going to name it for obvious reasons. And I said to the ladies, any more records coming? Oh yes, they said, there's 3 crates out the back there and a box. So I thought, so they let me into the back of the shop, and I bought 3 crates of fabulous dance band records, broadcasts, broadcast fortunes. Haven't seen many of those. Got a virtually complete set of those, and then long runs of them. They're not old shop stock. There's some poor old devil's collection that's been dumped in the charity shop. And the ladies said, well, of course, the bloke who brought them in is going to bring some more in. So I kept an eye. Anyway, I looked through. I said, I'll take all the boxes of records. What's the box you mentioned? That's it, viewers. Yes, a 461. That was in the charity shop. The records were oddly priced. Most of them were 49p, as I say, just under 10 bob. Some were 38p. Now, I couldn't work that out, so I said to the ladies, why are these 38p? You know, some of them were cracked and that. They'd come straight out of the collection, and these old biddies had just priced them up, so someone, you know, had been damaged in transit or whatever. But the 38p weren't the ones that were damaged. So I said, why 38? Oh, our price sticker machine jammed. We haven't been able to fix it, so we've been priced over 38p. Anyway, I bought the whole lot, and I bought the 461. So I then dashed up to the Squire's and borrowed his 460. A Lumiere and its cabinet. That's not an original cabinet for a 461, viewers. That's actually a Decca Bijou thing. Anyway, so we're going to do a comparison test. We'll get round to it eventually once I stop waffling. So I've been jolly pleased this weekend. Here we go. We'll try the Lumiere first. Now the Squire uses medium tone needles on everything, but that's okay if you live in the lay rectory and you know, in your salon or parlour or music room or drawing room you want to play. But here we need a bit of volume because of the YouTube upload. So we're going to play Columbia DB646, Victoria und her Hussar Dodo, or Dodo, Oscar Denish and Gina Malo, and we'll play it on the 461, and we'll go from there, see how we get on, see what people had to listen to. Here we go. Right. Let's take that off there. It's annoying because I had 3 perfectly good 460s last week, but they went. I've got another one, but it needs some work. So I thought it best to do a test with perfectly. Now this one's got a bit of a tick on the motor. Never mind, here we go. Haven't had time to restore it. Well, there we are, viewers. Bit of an odd sound, really, because this is a giant, essentially a giant HMV 101. I should have actually gone into the history of these. These Lumieres, the 460s, as you see, there's the motorboard layout, and here's the motorboard layout here, very similar. The reason is, when these apparently didn't sell too well, they converted them into these and put a giant horn in. It's a giant 101 horn. If you know the HMV 101, that's what it looks like. Not as big as this, obviously. Longest possible tone arm they had to put on there. 461, there we go. Don't think that says 510 on it. No, it doesn't. Anyway, what they did was chopped out the motorboard and put the horn in. Same lid stay and everything. That's what they did. The only thing that is missing and different to a 101 is there is no record tray in the lid. And the record tray is vital to the success of his Master's Voice 101 in that it acts as a reflector. Now, you heard the sound from that thing. This thing, not quite so much bass to say the least, was reflecting the sound out and back onto the lid, which was reflecting back out to us. But here, the sound just comes straight out here. And a little bit of muff. We'll do an experiment with that later. Right, we've done that popular record. Let's try some more. Just talk amongst yourselves a moment. Whilst I find a classical one from an album I made earlier. Right, what should we play? Beethoven, or should we play? Yes, Preceptory von Gluck. And we're going to play Melodie It's Columbia 5427. Do you know, I've just suddenly thought Proudy and the gang will say, oh no, 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 you should be playing his master's voice records. I think they've got a point. I will do that in a moment. Here we go though. Yelli, the violin solo played by Yelli Durand. Enjoying that. Here we go, let's put it on here and see how we get on with this one. Oh, that's wound up, that's right. Here we go. Yes, oh golly, mucking about the auto brake now. Right, there we go. I should know how to do this, viewers. That was interesting. So what I think we'll do now, we'll put that record very carefully back and we'll try and find his master's voice record. That should do it. Here we go. So that the gang can hear these things. Right, this is his master's voice B5562 down by the front door gate, played by the rhythm band, whoever they may be. Some Jeers ensemble, no doubt. You know, I hate to say it, but maybe they've got a point. Oh dear, the beak's right, viewers. Just fancy that. Right, I'll just wind that up. Let's talk amongst yourselves and look in the back of there for a moment. That's the problem with these things, you can't just switch the blinders on. Right, here we go, we'll play this one. That was very good, wasn't it? Yes, right, we're going to do another experiment. I've just thought of this, so if it turns out to be absolutely abysmal, then I've only got myself to blame for lack of preparation. Now, you've just heard that record. Let's see what it sounds like. Let's see if I can get this right. That's it. Yeah, that'll do. Now, you've just heard that record. I've just improvised a 101 record tray from some card and a proper imperial ruler. There we go. I don't mean Queen Victoria. Right, let's try that again and see if the sound is projected forward. Dear. At least the auto brake's working, viewers, even not at the right... Well, did you hear the difference? Did you? Because I jolly well did. I before I put the card there, it was as it was before. But after I put the card there, I could feel the sound waves coming towards me. That's a most extraordinary thought, because of course that usually only happens with a horn machine. That is definitely an improvement. Why HMV didn't do it? Well, you can't really fit it all into the case, but if only they'd had a folding flap at the back here, it would have worked rather nicely. But there you go. If you've got one of these, test it at home. See how you get on. Hopefully you enjoyed this instructional video. More to come. Thank you, viewers, and goodbye.